So, hi everyone. Welcome to Evolve Women's Wellness Untalked About podcast. Today, the topic of choice is about the mother load, I would call it maybe, the moms who are really worn out by the end of the day. We're talking about moms with toddlers. We're talking about moms who have school-age kids. We're talking about new moms. Anybody who might be really struggling with the amount of work they have to do. They're working from home, maybe their husband's at home, extra dishes, feeding the herd, whatever it is. So the group on today will be able to offer a lot of advice regarding how to boost your energy and your mood. Michelin would like to provide some information about nutrition and some supplements that you can use to help boost your energy. And I can speak to some ideas about helping with your sleep. And of course, that all circles back to good mental health, and Tasha and of course, Christina, our women's empowerment coach, will like to help you with. So I'll let you, Michelin, do you mind starting today? It'd be really great if you could give us a little heads up, and then you guys just talk amongst yourself in terms of this.
Okay, so yeah, during these times I've noticed, because right now I'm doing a liver cleanse, and I've noticed how much snacking I've been doing and how my cravings have gotten kind of way out of whack. It's the nighttime, like after dinner. I don't know if you find this too, but after dinner, I'm just like, okay, where's the chips, or where's everything else? Because my husband will bring it home from Costco. So with doing this cleanse, I'm on day 6, and I'm noticing a change in my abdomen area, which is good. But I know that those cravings are just, there's so much of it. So one thing I've learned is that I can fight that because I've not weakened, but it's actually making a choice and being conscious of what you're eating and how much you're eating. So not just for moms, but for moms now under stress, like it was just said, I think one of the best things to do is make sure you try and have at least 3 meals a day. And some people don't like to have breakfast, but if you at least eat some fruit alone in the morning, that gives you some antioxidants, it gives you some energy. And adding protein really helps, because protein's needed for hormones. And I find that as new moms, or just moms in general, as we age, our hormones can kind of fluctuate. So protein, whether you're vegetarian or vegan or you eat animal products, protein is really important. You should try and include it with every meal. So even if it's nuts and seeds, but try and include it with every meal. So that's one thing that I find that helps with the hormones that may be raging. And I know Lisa's going to talk a little bit about sleep, but sleep is important again. And I know everybody's off with their routine. So one of the things to try and do is your second cortisol level will take place after 11. So if you can try and get into a routine where you're not going to bed past 11 to get that second cortisol, keep the room dark at night, avoid screen time. And calming music is really good. Essential oils like lavender really help. You can have a bath with that. Affirmations to keep positive and focused, and try and clear your mind so you're not thinking at night and while you're sleeping, or when you wake up in the middle of the night, which can happen. Some supplements to take are magnesium. You can take citrate at night, which I do. It does cause some people to have loose bowel movements. So if you're not a constipated person, then you can have bisglycinate, which is gentler on your stomach, but it's calming for you. Some people take melatonin, and melatonin is not addictive. Some people think, oh my gosh, I've been on it for 6 months, but it's not addictive. It's actually a hormone in our body. And they're saying now that melatonin is really, it's supporting the respiratory. And they're actually telling you to take it during COVID because there's properties in it that are beneficial to support your respiratory. So there's a benefit there too. So another thing about supplements that you should be taking for mood, I guess we can talk about mood, because we all have our ups and downs, but being at home with young kids, or with kids, or even our husbands at a long period of time during this COVID, your moods can go up and down, and with the fear, you're not sure what's going on, wanting to go back to work if you're not, the emotions are something we need to support through food now or supplementation. So zinc is really, really good to take. And it's hard to find. I work in a health food store, so it's really hard to find. We get it in, but in little bits. So supply and demand is hard. But there's zinc that you can take within some different products that there's like zinc lozenges now with echinacea. So things like that. You don't want to have too much zinc because then it can deplete your copper. But zinc is one of those things to, to kind of help balance the mood. Probiotics. So there's some probiotics that you can take. They're live bacteria and yeast to maintain your good microbiome. They boost immune system. They're critical for the mental and emotional well-being as well. But you can also get probiotics through eating things like kefir, sauerkraut, fermented foods really are good. So you can even put kefir into like a morning chia seed, hemp seed, oatmeal thing. You can do it overnight. You can put kefir in that. You can actually let that sit on the table overnight and ferment more. So that will add more bacteria. So there's different ways to getting probiotics in your diet, but that's really good for gut because 70% of your immune system is in your gut. Calcium with magnesium supports nerve conduction, which is important for your thoughts, your perceptions, and memories. And omega-3 fatty acids. Some people take the oils, which is really good if you're not getting enough in your food. Not a lot of people are eating fish. But if you are, try to get the organic or wild fish because it's less mercury. It's farmed fish is not good. So if you can avoid it, don't buy farmed fish. But if you want to supplement too, there's liquid and there's tablets too. For energy, because I know a lot of people are finding their energy levels, maybe because of their sugar imbalances that they may have, but iron levels should be checked via blood work because sometimes it's just low iron. But we can get iron in foods like leafy green vegetables, dark green vegetables, things like that. Meat, obviously. L-theanine promotes relaxation without reducing alertness. So that's a nice thing to take because L-theanine works directly in the blood. So it goes right to your brain. It's really quickly. B complexes are really good for energy. Sometimes if you take a B vitamin, like a B12 on its own, that B vitamin can deplete the other B vitamins. So a complex is really good to provide with energy and nerve function. Let's see, nutrition. I think one of the things right now is when you do go grocery shopping, have a list and try and find things that you can prep ahead of time. So to have on hand, so buy some nuts and seeds and maybe some dried organic cranberries or different things like that. And then when you come home, you can pack it ahead and have it all ready for you so that you're not going, well, I'm going to go just grab the chips, but you have something a little healthier to take with you. You can wash your apples, even cut up some carrots and celery ahead of time and have that in the fridge waiting for you. The same with the kids, they can snack on things like that. I'm finding that we're snacking a lot on fruits. And so kiwis are available. There's a lot of fresh berries that are out there. So even having that on hand is very helpful. And even pre-doing salads, so like leafy green vegetables, pre-washing that and having it in containers. I know my son will grab it and he'll throw on some salad dressing and he'll just eat that and throw some avocado or whatever on that. So those are really easy to kind of prepare ahead. It does take some time. Hard-boiled eggs, if you're able to eat that, are very handy to have on hand for some protein, to have the protein added with your meal. Soups and bone broths. Bone broths are amazing. You should be using organic bones, and a mixture of bones are really good. So from beef, if you're not vegetarian or vegan, to chicken bones, and you cook that for at least, you can do 12 to 24 hours in a crock pot, and it just is wonderful, full of collagen, full of nutrients. I'm actually giving it to my dog who has gone into surgery recently and is recovering, and it's just an amazing food, and it's very easy to make, and you can just make a quick soup with it. We made some new recipes using bone broth with that instead of water or milk to substitute, and it's really good. So it's something that you can do, and you can freeze it too. So yeah, I guess I've said enough. I don't know. I'll let the floor go on to somebody else.
That's great. Thank
Thank you. Is that the baby, Lisa?
you.
Yes,
Ah,
yes.
so cute.
She's
That's
not
okay.
sleeping by herself, so she's joining us
Oh,
today.
that's
Which is
okay.
that
We're
irony
moms.
of it all is so
Exactly.
funny.
That's a perfect example of going with the flow.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's okay.
yeah, that's great.
Routine.
So thank you, Michelin, for your information on the nutrition there, because I think that that's such an important component that we forget, especially because, like you said at the beginning, you're snacking all the time. I feel like that's all I'm doing is just eating nonstop. It doesn't, and I'm not eating good things, and my energy is definitely suffering from it for sure. So you can really feel depleted after when your body's not getting what it needs.
There's
So,
some joke about flattening the curve on my waistline. Some joke is
that's going to be the next curve we need to flatten for sure.
yeah.
I think isolate the refrigerator and isolate the pantry doors. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the things that are getting locked down next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will speak next in case we have any issues with Babe here. But in terms of the topic of sleep, I had, so we do offer sleep coaching through our business, and I'm just pulling up my notes. And I am a certified sleep coach, and it's something that I've taken on because of women's health is so important to me, and I know that sleep is such an important aspect. So today I would offer 3 points of advice in terms of a mom who is kind of feeling depleted, not getting the sleep. Now, obviously, when you are a mom of a baby who wakes up in the middle of the night, you're not going to be able to apply all the same principles of sleep coaching that you would if you were older. Can you say hi to everybody?
So cute.
What is going on?
So big.
So what I would suggest here is if you're wearing many hats, to use a diary of where you are spending most of your time. So it seems silly and it seems like it might be extra work for you to do to write things down during the day, but it's not necessarily a bad idea to take a diary of where you're spending your time and see how much time you're allotting for yourself. So if you're staying up late to squeeze in an extra half an hour of just alone time, then you're probably not managing your time very well during the day. And that's because you're working, you're cooking, you're doing dishes, whatever it is that you're doing all of these things, you're wearing so many hats. So if you write it all down, you're able to see where it is that maybe you can cut the fat and in a different sense and maybe give yourself a little bit more time. And the second point that I would suggest here is to set boundaries and stick to them. So if you have, you find that maybe your toddler's sleeping in your bed at night, and that's not something you want, you're not in the co-sleeping sort of situation, then I would say that you need to set that boundary and be prepared to change that habit so that you can get better sleep. And then focus on the physical things that are easily changed that you didn't know were affecting your sleep or bothering you. So your bedroom should be a sleep sanctuary. It shouldn't be a toy room. And I know a lot of people are using it as a workspace right now, but we shouldn't do that. So right now we're in different times, but in general, we shouldn't be using our bedroom for anything other than sleeping and some other things, but we should be sleeping. So do whatever you can at this time to turn your bedroom into your sanctuary. That's what I would suggest. Somewhere you want to go to sleep, get rid of the electronics and make it calming. And you know, even if you have an alarm clock with a bright, ugly red light that tells you what time it is, maybe you want to get rid of something like that too. So there's lots of things you can do to change your habits. And the program that I run out of Evolve Women's Wellness is called Sleep by Design. And the idea is that you can design yourself into better sleep if you can change some habits, and you have to be committed. So a sleep coach, what they really do is that it's like a fitness trainer for your sleep. So they will offer you suggestions, but then they hold you accountable to those changes that you need to make. So just to let everybody know. So that's my suggestion. Does anybody else want to talk about what they would offer in terms of advice for moms who are really feeling depleted at the end of the day, building up some energy, stress relief?
So I'll just jump in. So you mentioned boundaries, and I nodded because the idea of setting boundaries goes very deep, and even in the context of like psychotherapy, boundary setting is so important, because boundaries, for example, could be where just by personality you don't set the right boundaries, as in the types of personality where you could be passive, aggressive, or assertive. So if you've sustained that kind of style of dealing with things for a long time where you're passive, then the passiveness could come out in many other ways in your relationship with everything that's going on, especially with your spouse, right? So then you're taking on everything, and you're like, one of the worst description of passive behavior is like being a floor mat.
Yeah.
Sorry to say. Of course, being aggressive isn't really good either, because that's the other extreme where you want to have all the power. But the ideal way would be to be the assertive one, where you use the right words, where you give your rights and you sustain your rights, and you don't give up the right of the other person. So that's a deeper layer when it comes to things that we could keep in mind as well.
Yeah, that's definitely great advice.
I think also like having the boundaries, having your time, and we talked about setting aside your time. And again, that doesn't necessarily, it's not going to necessarily look the same every day. You have to be realistic. So I also love talking about ritual, but it doesn't have to be at the same place every day or necessarily the same time. I mean, I love what you said, Lisa, about having your space as your sanctuary. I've really tried to declutter my bedroom. My windowsill became a toy area and all these different things. So in my bedroom, everything's very sort of simple. I have my yoga mat there. I have some meditation tools at my little ritual table. And the kids know that that is the space for us to sleep. And that is the space for me to do some of my movement, some of my yoga, and some of my meditation. If they want to join me for that, they're allowed to join me for that, but they have to respect that space and that time. So whether it happens when you first wake up in the morning, or whether it happens at some point during your day, or before you go to bed, just giving yourself, and it doesn't have to be even a half hour, even 5-10 minutes of just sitting, whether it's in silence, whether it's listening to a little meditation on audio, whether it's journaling. I think journaling, writing down patterns, writing down thoughts, even writing down what you're grateful for that day. Your day you can feel completely exhausted, completely overwhelmed, and take a few minutes to write down even one thing that you were grateful for that day, and it brings you into the present and really allows you to stop for a minute and let everything else go, and just brings you to the present moment, and can make it really. So basically, the idea of the quote that I read was that when you're feeling low, that's not the time to judge yourself and what you're doing, because you're feeling low. You're not feeling great. Your energy isn't great. Maybe you're feeling depleted. Maybe it's due to sleep. Maybe it's due to something that just happened. And that's not the time to be hard on yourself. That's the time to actually be the easiest on yourself and gentle on yourself.
Yes, I agree with that. And I like going back to journaling, because I think that we have a common theme that writing it down really helps. Whether you're journaling, whether you're just doing a little list, whether you're writing down just the things that you know you have to do, or things that you're grateful for. So this week is Maternal Mental Health Week, which we posted on our website, a free journaling guide that Tasha helped me put together. And you can download it for free. So it's for all of our clients or anybody who's on our website. And the idea is just to get some ideas flowing in your head to help you learn what to write if you have no idea. So it's a good starting point for some moms out there to get moving, get the juices flowing, for sure.
Another idea too is I have this cute little notebook on my counter in the corner with some pencils and colored pencils, and it's my little grateful. It's just about what I just write the date and what I'm grateful for that day. And I usually tend to write it at the end of the day, and I don't write every day, but it's really, and I'll be able to keep it, and the kids will be able to have it as well. So it's, I think I started it about 6 months ago, and it doesn't have a ton of entries, but I just write the date, what I'm grateful for, and then I get to keep it. And it really, if I don't do anything during the day, I'm not able to meditate, or I'm not really to have my self practice of yoga or movement, at least I can do that. And it's really nice to look back over the months and see what I've been grateful for and the experiences that I've had. And often I don't just write one thing. Often when it starts flowing, there's a whole bunch of things within that past 24 hours that I can be grateful for and take that time.
Yeah, definitely. Christine, did you want to add anything?
I just wanted to add that, yes, journaling, I think for me is very cathartic. It's a very healing process, because I can get all of my thoughts out on paper, whether they're jumbled or not. It doesn't really matter, because I'm the only one that's going to read them, right? So it helps me to release all that pent up emotion and energy, and just and doing that, the three things that I'm grateful for. It's funny, because when I talk to my kids, it's the same thing. So what are you grateful for today? Like, what has brought you joy? What has brought you pleasure?
Yeah.
And just acknowledging those, because then it makes you stop and think, and it makes you feel good. Like, you can't help but feel good when you think about what brings you joy.
It's so easy to find things to complain about, and it's a little bit more effort to think about things that you're thankful for. But when you do, and you realize what you really are thankful for, it can be a real eye-opener. Something else, one of the journaling prompts that I saw was write down every compliment you've ever received. And if you start working on something like that, it can really make you feel great. So if you want to do something fun like that, it might be a good journaling prompt. Every compliment you've ever received. One time I took little screenshots of every nice email I've gotten so far since I've opened the company, or little posts of inspiration. And I just like to keep them all in one little space, because it's so easy to forget that so many people are counting on you, or so many people are excited to be a part of what you're doing. So compliments, it's a great idea. And then you can always look back and say, oh, I remember when they said that. Feels great, right? So that's a good one too.
That's beautiful. I also do that on my ritual space. I have crystals, I have rocks, I have different things. We have little pieces of nature, and the kids and I started it last summer. I was taking a course. Last August, I started the ritual table, and I put postcards or little notes that I receive in the same idea. So the actual physical little things that people have written me or made for me, or things that the kids have made. And so it makes a big difference, because they're there on this space. And I can see them, and I can read them every day. And it really makes a difference to brighten your day when you're feeling, when you're feeling low, that you can reread those words of support and love. And it helps you feel a lot of gratitude.
I think too, affirmations are really good to post in different places in the house, because we get so busy and we're not thinking about things we're grateful for, or things that we are really good at. And so I think affirmations on sticky notes, like on mirrors, on the fridge, maybe one that says, you don't really need the snack, kind of thing. But,
yeah. That's a good one.
I just posted
you're
some
not
things
hungry,
in
you're
chat,
bored.
so.
Yes.
Just to get the affirmations and writing, there's an artist that's involved in one of the women's circles, and she made us little different. So this says, you are enough. And she gifted the kids some. So I have one for the kids that you are beautiful and you can accomplish anything. So we have things on our ritual table. And then this is on my mirror. And I was given this a few years ago. This is traveled from Costa Rica. So really, really good things are on their way. And that's a really fun activity to do with kids. I mean, obviously not super young kids can do it, but older kids. My kids are 8 and 4. So you can actually, that's a really nice art activity as well, is to write little affirmations. And also we've been sending, friends of ours started a beautiful postcard company during this whole isolation COVID situation. And 1 second, I'm gonna grab them. And I can also send information to you on how you can get them. So they've created these beautiful postcards, stay well and support each other. And you can still hang out at a distance. And I can add their information there. And they've gifted us, they sent us one, and then they gifted us already stamped for us to now send to some friends and family in Canada to spread the word. So and you can create your own postcards and do things like that. So the affirmations are nice, and also spreading the good vibes to friends and family too.
I have a friend who always sends birthday cards that are very positive. Even they usually never say happy birthday. It's always nothing blue skies ahead or whatever, and it always makes me feel great. So I'm not as good at doing that, but I think that now also recognizing that because it makes me feel so good that she sends those things. So always sends me really positive cards. Something on an opposite side of all this, and it's always helped for people I know sometimes, is if you have a major complaint, sometimes putting pen to paper is also a good idea too. You don't have to mail the letter, but if you have an issue with customer service, instead of going to Facebook and really complaining about somebody who maybe just had a bad day. Obviously, we've been a little bit distant from customer service lately, but 5 days for an online order from Canadian Tire might bother you. Put a pen to paper, write it down, and get it out. And usually that's enough to just chill. It's enough to just get the feelings out and say what you want to say without affecting anybody other than helping yourself.
That's really important in relation. Some of the journaling work I've done and looking at putting pen to paper is if you have had emotional experiences with people that maybe you're sort of dragging with you and carrying with you. And this could be parents, this could be childhood situations that happened, friends and family, that you can write them a letter and you don't have to ever give it to them. It is, again, just that act of getting it on the paper. So whether it's customer service or it's someone that you had an experience with that's really sort of affected your life, it can be really beneficial to again, write it out and get it out.
That's what they actually call CBT, because all that cognitive behavior therapy it's really a mental process where the brain and the rest of the body connects. And so the doing, as in the journal, pulls it from here, and it's more cognizant to you as to the why and how and all that. So it's all part of that, right?
Yeah, so it could really be done with anything that you're experiencing, whether you're in a stressful situation, you're handling things that you've got toddlers running around or running around, or whatever it is that you have running around that's, your husband's in the background and you're usually not there, whatever it is, that's, it's good to just, if you can't talk, then write, maybe, if that's what it is.
Yep. And it might be a good form of forgiveness too, to try to just get it out there and off your chest, and then you have you want to forgive so that it's not going to create disease in you or resentment and make you a better person. So writing it out, if you can't speak to the person, is a really good way of doing that too.
Because forgiveness is forgiving yourself. Sorry. Christine,
it's not to vent your feelings without the responsibility of hurting someone else's feelings. Right, so you have that sort of that boundary of protection for yourself, because then you don't have to feel bad, right? You could even do a burning ritual, write it all down, and then burn it and just release it all.
Right. Done and done.
Yeah,
because it's about forgiving yourself more than the person who did you wrong, because the forgiveness that you do is where you take it from here, where you're carrying it and pulling it out there and saying, hey, you know what, it's over. It hurts you more than it hurts the person you're mad at.
That's right. That you're carrying that thing that you can't forgive them for is really just a burden on yourself.
That's right.
And a lot of people struggle with that, with just, you don't want to be talking about something 2 years down the road about something that really hurts you. And it comes up in the most unopportune times, arguments, or you didn't have enough sleep last night or whatever. Now you're bringing up this thing from 2 years ago. Maybe, and it's a burden on you more than they're not necessarily thinking about that as much as you are. So.
And I think another thing that we put in that ebook around journaling that is important is that if that's a safe space, right? There's no judgment about what you write. So no one else is going to look at it other than you. And that's, I think sometimes, we tend to focus on the affirmations, the positive thing, but it's okay to feel angry and to feel upset and to feel mad and all those different things. And to put it there, no judgment, no one sees it. And again, and then release it and let go of it.
I think that it's funny that when you're 11, 12, 13 years old, it's perfectly normal to have a diary that's locked and you write and you complain and you're happy and you have a crush on someone and whatever it is that you're putting in there, that's perfectly normal. And then somewhere along the way, we forget about that. And it's really good to just pick it back up. And if some people have never stopped, but I mean, a lot of people, that was their, again, it was in their room, it was their safe space, and then you kind of, that goes away. Maybe we've turned it to the online, and the pen to paper thing isn't, you can still, you can write a letter on the computer as well, and it never goes anywhere. And that's, I don't know how many times in my professional career I've written emails, never hit send, or they accidentally didn't send, and I was like, oh, phew. You know, like it happens. You send something in a brief lapse of judgment, or you write something, but it does, at least if it's written out, it's been said, whether you send that email or not. So we have just a few minutes left on the Zoom call. So if anybody wants to add anything else, otherwise we can wrap up today's call. I think that was really good.
Yeah, so remember, avoid the inflammatory foods, okay? So like dairy is inflammatory, gluten, trans fats, all the refined foods, the artificial sugars and sweeteners, caffeine, the hydrogenated oils, processed and microwave, meats, sugars, so things that you just really want to try and stay clear of, and just introduce the whole foods that you can, whole foods, filtered water, stay hydrated, good things for your body just to get through this, and just don't forget about yourself. So feed yourself as well as your family. Good.
Thank you. We still have some recipes to post from Michelin that she provided to us, so we're going to be posting those on social media soon, teaching you how to make a quick, easy meal that's using the right ingredients. So we'll be posting those soon, and then I see maybe some cooking shows in our future or something along those lines to share.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because I think everybody wants to do it, but again, you need that little bit of guidance to help you. So that's what we're here for.
Awesome. Thanks, ladies.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Welcome, ladies. It was
All
so
right,
nice to see you all. Bye.
Beautiful day.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.